So you finished your script, you're pretty happy with it, and you are going to send it out to a producer. And you're wondering, should I also send the show Bible with the script? Now, good question, and I get asked it quite a lot actually. But let's answer the first question, which is, what is a show Bible? And a show Bible is a term that's come from scripted television, which is everything you need to know about this TV series. It's all of the characters, all the situations, all the story arcs, plots and everything going on into the future. And so everything you need to know about this show is in the Bible, the show Bible. And obviously that word is derived from the actual Bible, which is what everything you need to know about life and death and what happens afterwards. So it's a great question, because you may have worked on this show Bible in order to come up with your show, and you think, well, I'll send it and then they'll read it and then they'll understand the script better, and so then they'll really enjoy the script, and I've sent them this complete package. So should I just send them both together? Here is my answer, yes or no? I'm going with no. And the reason for that is because it dilutes your script. I think it's really important why I would suggest that you don't send out the show Bible, because everything about your sitcom needs to be in your script. That's really important. And if it isn't in the script, then a show Bible isn't going to save that or explain it. It's a bit like when kids do exams and they don't get a very good mark, and afterwards you say you got this wrong, you didn't get full marks because of this, this and this. And they said, oh, but I knew that. The person marking the exam didn't know that you knew that, and you had given them no indication that you knew it because you hadn't put it down on the page, on the paper. So the script is like your exam answers, which show what you know, what you can do. So that is my key one big thing, which is that you really do need to have everything in the actual script of the sitcom and not rely on another document to explain everything. And so that's what I do when I read people's scripts and they send me the show Bible or the outline or whatever as well. I never read it. I might read it afterwards to see what they were going for, but actually what I always read is the script, because if it's not in the script, it's not in the show. Okay, so, and if you're interested in me reading your script, there's a link below where you can contact me and I can read your script with professional eyes based on 25 years of experience in the industry, writing dozens of scripts, in actual fact 100 plus sitcom scripts, mostly for the BBC. So that's how I approach it when I'm reading scripts. And I try to write scripts, therefore, knowing that the show Bible is not going to be read first. And that's what I've just done with a script I've written that's called The Lab. And the reason I think it has to be in the script is because your sitcom script is the template for all future episodes. If your sitcom pilot script is all set up, it doesn't give any indication of what the sitcom actually is, because a sitcom, as I will say forever on this YouTube channel, a sitcom is a permanent act two. It just goes round and round and round. And there is a sense in which every single episode is the same. Now, if you're sending a show Bible to show the trajectory of the show and all of the character arcs and all that kind of stuff, I'm worried that you haven't written a sitcom. I think you've written a drama, a comedy drama, maybe a continuing drama, perhaps. But this stuff about story arcs is not that important in a sitcom script, particularly not in a sitcom pilot. And there is an awful lot of confusion in the industry, including from people who work full time in the industry and are reading sitcom scripts like they're comedy dramas or dramas, which is quite frustrating, but we are where we are. And so you may need answers to story arcs and all that kind of stuff. But if you're pitching a sitcom and someone's asking you about arcs, they don't know what they're talking about. which might be unfortunate because they might decide on whether they're going to do your show or not. But that's where we are at the moment. So your sitcom script, your pilot sitcom script, needs to essentially embody and encapsulate everything and show what your sitcom is, rather than tell the reader all about it in a show Bible that gives backstory and story arcs and episode ideas and all that kind of stuff. Now, again, I just want to make the point, you should have a very clear sense of episode ideas. In order to come up with your pilot script, it would be really good if you'd thought of 100 possible episodes or 100 plots and put together maybe 10 or 15 potential episodes and then decided which of those would make a really good pilot, so that you're starting your sitcom in the middle and you're not starting your sitcom at the very beginning, which is the worst place to start a sitcom. The other day, I had another first day at work sitcom that I read for somebody, and the problem is that the lead character is passive throughout. They're being shown around, everything's happening around them, happening to them. Don't start at the beginning, start in the middle. That's one of my best performing YouTube videos on this channel, is about starting in the middle. I think it's called How to Make the Script Funnier, and it's to start in the middle and not at the beginning on a first day at work. That is why I say do not send a show Bible. You need the discipline of saying it's all in the script. And if somebody likes the script, they'll ask you for the show Bible. But they probably won't read the show Bible, and they're less likely to ask for the script based on the show Bible because they get tons of those. And story ideas are kind of two a penny, really. And unless your sitcom idea is so unbelievably original, which is very unlikely, they would have seen something like that before. The only thing that matters, and this is the next thing, the only thing that matters really is your ability to execute your idea. So those are the two things. The first thing is your sitcom script needs to demonstrate what your sitcom is, not a show Bible. And your sitcom script needs to demonstrate that you can write it, that this is your show, this has your stamp on it, this has your voice. Now, it doesn't need to be necessarily, therefore, personal and authorial. If you've got a sitcom about a brain surgeon and you are a brain surgeon, well, obviously, that's got your authority stamped in it. But it may just be perspective or worldview or stage of life, and you're demonstrating that you've got the idea behind the show encapsulated. It's really hard, isn't it? The whole idea encapsulated and embodied in the characters and the relationships. And therefore, if you write a really good script, then that will probably get you a little bit of interest and meetings. Again, the thing I hear again and again and again is, I sent out a really, really good script and I'm not getting anything off it. Okay, the industry is really hard at the moment, that's true. There are a lot of writers out there at the moment, that's true. But here's the third thing. Your script actually probably isn't very good. Okay, it's not as good as you think it is, because if it were, you would probably get at least a call or an email to say, this is interesting, what else have you got? Have you got more? Have you got a show Bible? Do you want to at least have a Zoom chat and meet about it? And that is the beginning of a conversation. I really very, 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 very rarely read a sitcom script that is ready, that is like, oh, it's all here. I can totally imagine this show and this writer is clearly the person to do it. Okay, that doesn't happen very often. So if you're puzzled why that isn't happening to you, the problem is the script. And that's why the script is everything. So show Bibles and world building and all that sort of stuff, which is actually quite easy to do. It's the script that's the hard bit. It's the dialogue that's the hard bit. It's the jokes that's the hard bit. And that's the other thing. That's the third thing. Is not you're just the right person to write this script, this idea, but that you're funny, that the script is funny, that the audience will laugh, that the people will enjoy it, that they will have a good time. That is surprisingly important. And again, I do read scripts which are competent and clear, but they're not that funny. And so your script really does need to demonstrate exactly why you are writing this script and why you are the person to write it, Not just because of your perspective and your technical competence, but because you're funny. And the show Bible will always obfuscate that. It will always sort of show, oh, I've got this whole world to build out. But that isn't really what a sitcom is, and that isn't how sitcoms are born. That's how dramas are born. That's how procedurals are born. And that's all fine. That's a whole different world that I don't know all that much about, if I'm honest. I did work on Death in Paradise a couple of years ago, and they had a very comprehensive show Bible. But even that, in a sense, is kind of redundant because I've seen the show. You know, it's a really popular show, and there's a sense in which the structure of the show is pretty similar. That's the way they write it, and that's the way the audience want it. It sounds like I'm being critical of the show, and I'm not at all. People love it because they know what they're getting. And so everything has to be in the pilot script, and sending a Bible is actually not going to help you. It's not going to sell you as a writer, and it's not going to sell your show, and it's not going to demonstrate that you're funny. And all of those things are really important. So, would I send out a show Bible with a script? No, I might, but I would make sure that it would work whether I'd sent it or not. So there you go. I've slightly moderated the answer at the end there because that's just the kind of person I am. I guess I'm just an Englishman, and that's how we talk. But I really do think that fussing over your show Bible, you need that document for you to make your script as good as it can be, but it all has to be in the script. So that's why it's worth subscribing to this channel and going over to my blog, which has a link for that below, which has regular updates on videos, but also other stuff and webinars and coaching that I'm running. And also there's a link below to my professional script reading service if you want to make use of that. And there's lots of other things coming up in the future. So hope that was helpful. Speak to you next time.